Hello and welcome to the GoalBusters YouTube channel and video vlog series and our first ever accidental fundraiser vlog entry. And you may be wondering, what the heck is an accidental fundraiser? And that's what today's episode is all about. It's about figuring out what that is. I'm Alice Ferris. I'm the founder of GoalBusters Consulting. With me is Jim Anderson, partner of GoalBusters, and the accidental fundraiser himself, Jeff Hall. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Alice. How are you?
Good. Great. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Always a pleasure to join you and Jim.
Well, so we tease you because we call you the accidental fundraiser, because in real life, you're the director of Lowell Observatory and you're also a PhD in astronomy, but you also happen to be, frankly, a really kick-ass fundraiser. So how does that happen? So Jeff, how did you become a fundraiser?
It was this gradual evolution. You know, I've been at Lowell since the late Cretaceous. I came here in 1992 as a dewy-eyed postdoc, fresh out of grad school, on a 3-year research appointment, entirely funded under an NSF grant. But the nature of that research program was very long-term. So we got the grant renewed in 95, then in 98, got it renewed again. But at that point, the director at the time, Bob Millis, asked me if I would take over management of the outreach programs, because I really enjoy the outreach side of things. And so then I was 50-50. And yeah, then I started getting into eventually meeting with the occasional donor to talk about my research, and got more involved in the fundraising, and then became the project scientist for our huge new telescope, and just gradually sank deeper into the molasses, you know. And then in the end of 2010, I was appointed the observatory's director. And at that point, you know, we were no longer the little observatory I came to in 1992, and we had maybe 40 or 50 employees. All of a sudden we had 100, and we had added a $53 million asset to the balance sheet in this new telescope. So yes, we're still an observatory, but we are now a full-fledged nonprofit business that specializes in astronomical research and communicating that to the public. So I'm a nonprofit CEO, in addition to being an astronomer. And we all know what nonprofit CEOs have to do a lot of. And so I've sort of ended up doing a lot of fundraising because we have a lot of ambitions and a lot of generous donors and loyal supporters. And you got to go out and talk to them and inspire them about the mission. And it's really a lot of fun.
Was it always a lot of fun? Did you always enjoy it?
No, no, it was definitely an acquired skill, because early on, you know, it was, I'm going to sit down with people and asking them for their money. And it was, and you know, even more uncomfortable. And this was genuinely, you know, you'd really work how to present this when you were talking about planned gifts and sitting down with people to talk about that. I practically felt like I should have my big black robe and a sickle as I was punches, you know. But you know, over the years, I've learned that that is entirely not the case, and it's a very enjoyable and incredibly honorable thing to be able to do.
That's an interesting pair of words. What makes it enjoyable? Why do you think it's honorable?
Because you get to go, well, when we can go all over the country, you get to go all over the country and meet the most interesting people who are so genuinely interested in astronomy. And you know, you hardly ever even, sometimes don't even get to talk about the fundraising pitch because they're just peppering you with questions about the universe. And it's like, oh, well, good. Then I get to be an astronomer again for a little while. You know, honorable, I think, because, well, let's go back to the planned gift. And you know, you both knew Don. And, you know, he left us virtually his entire estate. And after, you know, a terrible decline and death from bone cancer. And I was able to visit him a few weeks before he died and show him pictures of the facility he had endowed. And, you know, it was a deep honor to be able to bring him happiness and that the kind of joy that he saw that his gifts were bringing us in the final weeks of his life. And that is it's a privilege to be able to do that.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned Don, because as you did say, we both knew him. And in fact, he became a donor of Lowell Observatory way back in the Cretaceous, as you mentioned, when I was the development director for Lowell Observatory.
We're both dinosaurs now.
And the thing that I appreciated about him was that many, many years later, when I had the opportunity to interact with him again at an advisory board meeting, he came up to me and said, "Alice, you may not remember me." And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? He was my first major donor. So I was like, of course I remember you.
Yes.
And he said, "I want to thank you." And I said, why do you want to thank me? And he says, "Because you helped connect me with this organization. And I've had just a wonderful experience being part of the Lowell family. And,
Yes.
and I want to thank you so much for making me a part of this." And I started to cry, and it's totally is that human connection that you make with people.
Absolutely. And we were his family. You know, he was a lifelong bachelor and you know, would very loyally come to all the board meetings and interact as much as he could. And it was always nice to go up to Seattle and see him. So yeah, it's you know, and you realize after you gain some experience and meeting with people and hearing what they want to do, it's not like you're picking their pockets. It gives them joy to help you. This is, you're empowering them to do something that's very meaningful to them. And it's just really fun.
I can't think of any better words of encouragement for those people who might be accidentally fundraising and who may still be at that point where it's a little uncomfortable. So what you shared about how you're not asking somebody to do something they don't want to do. In most cases, if you're talking to them, they've already made the decision they want to help you. You're just helping them figure out how they can do it.
Right. And you know, what's the best way? And that's one of the fun things about doing this at Lowell, because you know, we do obviously we do all these research programs, all kinds of outreach, historic preservation, capital projects, you know, and every donor is a little bit different. You know, some people just love to support the science, and others really want to enable us to reach lots of kids in the outreach programs. And it's nice to have this menu that you can roll out in front of them and say, well, yeah, we're going to go for that.
Well, that's great. And thank you, Jeff, for taking a few minutes out of your very busy and very Zoomy day.
I was staring at the wall. It's okay.
Well, and what we're planning to do with this as the first episode of the GoalBusters Accidental Fundraiser is that we're going to do a series of video blogs or vlogs with Jeff to talk about some various things from his perspective as the director, CEO of a nonprofit business, as he mentioned earlier. So as someone who is an accidental fundraiser, we're looking forward to hearing your perspectives on fundraising, particularly in the world today. And we will have a whole bunch of other opportunities to talk with Jeff in the future. So thank you again, Jeff, for agreeing to be our accidental fundraiser, and we will talk to you again very soon.
Okay, thank you both. All right.